Hello, this is your guest narrator, Dr. Levy. Welcome to John Overton High School's Literacy Bites, where every teacher can become a literacy teacher in 5 minutes or less. Today's topic, Prompt Perfection Part 3, Making Prompts Accessible for English Learners. Today's session is the last in a 3-part series on constructing effective writing prompts, with our focus now on providing scaffolds to English learners to help them successfully participate in writing assignments. Last week, we learned about factors to consider when deciding what type of writing will work best for your instruction. These factors are put together in the acronym RAFT, or Role, Audience, Format, and Topic. Today, English learners at John Overton High School are either enrolled in inclusion classes or sheltered classes. To start out, each English learner takes a yearly assessment to determine their level of proficiency in different domains of communication, including reading, writing, speaking, and listening. The student receives an overall score in addition to subscores in each domain. We have Level 1s, or entering students, Level 2s, roughly categorized as emerging students, Level 3s, who are considered developing learners, Level 4s, or expanding learners, and Level 5s, or bridging students. Different scaffolds, accommodations, and modifications are appropriate for each level of proficiency. In your teams, please consider the question: what are the proficiency levels of the EL students in your classes? And if you're unsure, how could you find this information? Let's look at which scaffolds would be appropriate for all levels of English learners. First, at all levels, you can teach students to analyze the structure and features of different genres and forms the students are expected to write in. And second, teachers can always introduce and teach key vocabulary before presenting the writing prompt. With this example here, a teacher would want to be explicit with students about what is expected in their written analysis and what it might look like to refer to specific examples and justify their conclusions within 2 paragraphs. You can see a few terms here which may need to be pre-taught before expecting students to write successfully in response to this prompt. Now, these next strategies would not be appropriate for Level 4 or Level 5 English learners, and you certainly would not make these accommodations for an entire class of native English speakers. But for entering, emerging, and developing English learners, these scaffolds can be crucial for making the work accessible. Let's look at the first scaffold. Sometimes it may be appropriate to break the prompt down to its core elements and provide EL students with a more direct version of the writing prompt. This could be a good opportunity to use AI. Here, I'm using Microsoft Copilot. Let's ask it to modify this writing prompt so it's more accessible for entering and emerging English learners. I'll copy and paste my writing prompt here and see what it comes up with. All right, here's what we got. You can see how the writing prompt has been broken down to its core elements. It's important to remember that when you modify a writing prompt, you don't take away from the intent of the learning, and in this case, I think the modified writing prompt accomplishes that goal. Especially if you have emerging English learners, you may want to consider providing visuals to support understanding of key terms within the prompt. One way to do this when using Microsoft software is through icons. With our high schoolers being near adulthood, it's important to find images that aren't geared towards elementary age students. Icons have a neutral style, so they're suitable for all ages, and you can find them under the Insert tab in the ribbon on PowerPoint. Student's perspective. Imagine you were given this prompt in Spanish, and consider how these visuals might affect your understanding of the task at hand. Think about how you can offer synonyms for key terms within the prompt to support understanding. Although much of the complex vocabulary was altered when the prompt was modified, you could still provide synonyms for words like diary, examples, and explain. So in summary, you may need to provide scaffolds to make writing prompts accessible for your EL students. All levels of English learners may benefit from explicitly teaching the structures and features of the writing format, as well as the key vocabulary within the prompt. Level 1, Level 2, and some Level 3 English learners may benefit from creating a more direct version of the writing prompts, providing visuals to support understanding of key terms within the prompt, offering synonyms for some key terms. Remember, these are not intended to be whole class accommodations. Consider an upcoming lesson or assignment. What EL scaffolds may you want to include to support your students?